I want to quit my job, help. Well, I hear this. I hear this a lot of times, and I totally hear and feel the sentiment behind that. Because oftentimes, especially people who are talking to me, they actually have a very high aspiration, and sometimes they feel like they're stuck in a job, and this job, they just needed to pay their bills. And if only they could do something which is much more in line with their higher aspirations. And if only those higher aspirations, the pursuit of that could give them money, then they could, quit this corporate job, perhaps. So I very much empathize with that. I've been there at one point, and I have a lot to say about that. Firstly, I would say it does take courage, and there is a leap. There is a leap involved, and there's no getting around that. So I want to be pretty upfront about it. That there's not going to be like this smooth, everything is figured out, and you just transition just perfectly. And it's all good. It's going to involve a leap because we are used to, I would go so far as saying we're addicted to a steady bi-weekly paycheck. It's like, oh, I gotta have this pay. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. How am I going to pay my rent? Well, we gotta get out of this sort of fixation with a steady flow of money, partly by managing how we live. And I think a lot of us, we have certain discretionary expenses we can certainly look at, and we can take the pressure off. Yes, of course, we need money, but we can make it go from whatever amount to maybe 2/3 of that. And maybe that's doable. That takes the pressure off. This kind of thing is very useful from a practical point of view, because when you quit a job and you maybe do something which is much more to your liking, you may find that you're not going to quite make that same amount of money on day one. So there may be a drop in income. And the more you are living simply, the more you can make that leap. So I would say simplify to start with. Simplify your life. Number two is muster up the courage to make that leap. For a lot of us, we are very risk averse. And I'm like that too. But you have to kind of tame that beast. We tend to be extremely risk averse. It's like, anything that's risky, I don't want to do that. Well, you can't be like that. You have to take on risk. To do anything exciting in alignment with higher purpose, you have to take risk. It's just the way it is. And that means dealing with unknowns. So dealing with the fact that I'm not quite sure how I'm going to make this money. Okay, that's how it is going to be. But I'm going to make that leap. So develop the courage, which is an inner quality. It has nothing to do with your outside world. To take on risk, at least for a period of time. So you can say, okay, I'm going to take the next, say, 18 months where I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to try to make something work. And at least for that time, I'm going to live in a high risk sort of frame of mind, high risk. I'm going to be handling that. And so we can, by doing that, we are opening up that opportunity to do something incredible. So we give ourselves that chance. So be willing to take risk, be willing to make that leap, develop this courage to do that. Third piece is, which is a little more practical, what is going to be your source of income? You need, in the long run, some way where you're going to satisfy your basic expenses. Now, this is where we've got to be very creative, where you may have something which is not going to instantly yield the same income. So what you've got to do potentially is maybe have a couple of things going on. One, which we are working maybe 30, 40, 50% of your time, and that takes care of the bills. at least the basic ones. And then you have a chunk of time where you can tackle your more ambitious project. Maybe you're creating a new product. You can work on that product. It'll take some time, but that'll give you a chance to keep going in the interim. And maybe you have some savings. Maybe you have some investment that'll also help you kind of live with less income for a period of time. If you bring all these things together, suddenly it's a lot more realistic, where you can quit your job and you can actually start doing something much more that makes your heart sink. I think that's the place we want to get to. And it's worthwhile. It's absolutely worthwhile going in that direction of what makes you come alive, what makes you feel good. We don't want to be thinking only 401ks and when am I going to get Social Security and when can I retire. We want to be living our lives like that, not just retiring. And this is possible. This is absolutely possible. And I see people making that leap all the time. It's not the majority. Majority are still trying to manage risk and not take any risk. I would say be in that minority who makes the leap and reaps the incredible life you can live as a consequence of that. When you choose light, life becomes increasingly joyful, purposeful, and inspired. I invite you to join me to explore the realms of light, the infinite possibilities that light offers.